Thank you for your order from Fiverr.com. This is a video review of tipsforpc.com. Okay, so to start, let's look at the actual structure of your website. First of all, you have a clean, clear and crisp logo. Secondly, you have a very clear navigation with mouse over effects. Thirdly, you have a good differentiation between your background and your foreground content. And fourthly, you have good subcategories, and overall, in terms of a blog, you have a very good structured design. So let's delve a little bit further and start with your home page and the content within. First of all, I notice you have a Google Plus script here and here. Now, on your inner blog pages, you actually offer other sharing options such as Twitter and Facebook. Why aren't they also being offered here? For maximum effect, you should have them all across the website, all with the exact same position. It helps in terms of usability and in terms of consistency. If you've only got the Google Plus here, chances are, if anyone will share it, it will only be via Google Plus. They may just read the headline and the brief snippet and decide that is enough to share. They may not decide to share one inside the post because they may be too enthralled within the actual post. When adding this, I also recommend adding in a bit of better design and spacing. Because at the moment, as you can see, the Google Plus is very close and tight up to the text. Now this looks unprofessional and cramped. You don't want this at all. So bring in a bit of spacing, bring in other sharing options such as Facebook and Twitter, and just overall make it easier to share and better to actually look at. Talking about social media, we notice you have a Facebook page. Now, when we visit this Facebook page, we can see you actually have a welcome tab. However, there's two things wrong here. First of all, the welcome tab isn't actually set as your default page, and secondly, there is no welcome content at all. So what I recommend you do to generate more likes is to actually create a custom welcome tab. Tell them why they should join, maybe offer an incentive, welcome yourself as a business or a website, and basically connect with your users, because social media platforms are a great way to connect with users and also to advertise your website or business for absolutely free to thousands of people. So it's very important, whatever social media platform you have, Facebook, Twitter or even YouTube, is to connect with your users, be appealing and draw them into your pages, into your website and into your business. Okay, so we come down and we can see this is a normal standard blog page. It has the new list of articles on the home page. Now, from an outside perspective, never being on this website before, I understand it's tips for PC, but what does this cover? What is the range of this? What do you talk about? Do you talk about websites? Do you talk about only hard drives? Do you talk about software? I'm not too sure, so I'm not sure if my problem is here. So what I recommend you do is on your homepage, bring in a marketing video to basically outline and introduce your website. If something professional is made and basically explains what your website is about, I'll be more inclined to search for my actual issue rather than being off-put by the numerous amounts of content you have. Now, mention the numerous amounts of content you have. Because you have a lot of content, the actual ratio of your keywords is quite small to the amount of content you have. So it's very important that you use your keywords well and you be spammy with them as much as possible, but don't actually take away from the article itself. So use the words as much as possible, but still keep the article enriched and a decent read for users to read, otherwise it's pointless. A great way to bring keywords into your website is to actually put them into your footer, linking them to the home page. So you're creating an internal link to your home page that has got the exact attribute you want and the exact name you want to try and bolster your rankings. So for example, you could have computer tips as a link, you could have tips for PC, you could have solve my PC problems, anything like that in your footer, just so when we hit search engines and search for terms, we may actually be brought up by your website by the footer links that you have inbound with obviously your chosen attributes. One thing I notice your website is lacking is connecting to your users when we've left the site. At the moment you have an RSS feed, which is great. It's a great way to bring in return traffic and to update users, but it's very restricted in terms of a blog because they usually only contain articles. Now, an even better way to actually connect with your users is to actually bring in a newsletter. So you can tell them about new articles. You can tell them about news. You can tell them about any new products or services you may offer, because I've noticed you're selling ebooks. In fact, you could even sell small pieces of advertising or sponsorship inside these newsletters and generate a profit for your website. Now, I briefly mentioned products there. So let's have a look at one of your product pages. Now, as we can see, this is a well laid out page. You have clear highlighted text. You could highlight more text, but at the moment the structure works well. We can see you have a large image, you have testimonials, and then you have the Order Now button. It's a basic sales page with all the information you need and all the call to actions. Now, there is a way to improve this page. At the moment, when we click Order Now, we're processing via PayPal. Now, PayPal is obviously well known, but people still distrust certain buyers because at the end of the day, you don't know who you're paying. What PayPal actually offers is a basic way to show that you are verified. So you can bring in a script on your website, which you can see with the link I'm going to provide, which will basically say how to put an image on your website that says you're PayPal verified. And then when I click this image, it shows me your email address, it shows me how long you've been verified for, and it basically gives a short bit of information about what verified being means. So users can then trust to check out with you and pay with you. They can see that you've been a long-term member, and they can see that they can trust you. Now, when we actually go to checkout, we do see your PayPal screen. At the moment, at the top, you have your PayPal email address. Now, this could look far more professional. PayPal actually gives you the ability via their back end to customize the screen, so you can make it look more a part of your website. You can bring in a custom header, custom colors for the sidebar, your custom logo. So rather than checking out on a whole new website and making PayPal look like a third party, you can actually bring PayPal into your website to look more like a plugin and more professional overall. Having your logo and branding on this page will look far better than paying a random email address. But personally, when you see a random email address, it puts you off a bit. It makes you hesitant because you're worried about who you're paying. But when you see a corporate logo or branding, you feel far more trust and confidence with that seller because you feel they're a part of something larger and basically have business morals. Right. So as I said, this page is well laid out. It's got a few images, a few tutorials, and testimonials, etc. However, some of your pages aren't as well laid out. For example, let's click a random article, such as this one. Right, in this article we can see you've got advert, share, one image, and a heap load of text. Now, just because the text is there doesn't mean people are going to read it. You need to make it appealing. In terms of structure and paragraphing, you've done this very well. In terms of making it appealing by incorporating images, you've done the bare minimum. You've added in one image and you've also got an advert. So what I recommend you actually do to help users read your articles and be interested in your articles is to add more images. Add different variations of text, add bold text, add headers. You know, you've got such a large bulk text here. I mean, even your link styling here is the default to your browser. You should style this to be custom, such as these links here are black. This one here is the default blue. So customize what you can, make it stand out more, add more images in, make it more appealing, because you want users to stay on your pages so your bounce rate is far lower and search engines can read that you actually have very decent content. Another great way to enrich these articles is to provide links to external resources. However, when you ever link to an external resource, always make sure the link opens up in a new tab. For example, if we look at your footer, we can see you've got SEO powered by SEOpressor. Now, when I actually click this, we can see I'm redirected away from your website because the external link is opening in the same tab. Now, because it's opening in the same tab, if I don't want to see this website, or if I'm bored of this website, or if I get distracted, I'm either going to close the tab or delve further into your website. Now, as you can imagine, if I close this tab, because it was opened in the same tab as your website, I've then lost your website. I may either forget to go back, or I may actually forget that I was on your website at all, or I may just forget the email address, the URL. So it's important, any tab you open, make sure it always opens in a new external tab. To do this, you edit your link to have the value target equals underscore blank, and this will make sure that any single link that I have that is external will open in the new tab, keeping your website open in the old tab, and we can come back to it later and not forget about it. Right, there's two more points I wish to mention, and one is quite important in terms of search engine optimization. I've looked around your pages, and you've set unique meta descriptions on all of your pages, which is important because you want to be indexed as best as possible, so it's important to give these descriptions to search engines. Now, you have a sitemap for users, which is great. However, this sitemap won't be read very well by search engines, because it's not the way they read sitemaps. All this is to a search engine is a bit of a link farm. It's got all your links on it, but it's not showing the structure, it's not showing more information, and it's not giving the information search engines need to take the best indexing of your website. So what I recommend you do is use a website called xml-sitemaps.com, and when you go here and you enter your URL, it will crawl and generate your website and make an XML file. Now, an XML file is basically a text file with unique tags and code and everything in it that once you upload to a root directory called sitemap.xml, search engines and search engine bots will read this file, understand the priority of your pages, understand the structure, the age, the last time it's modified, everything like that, which at the moment your current sitemap isn't providing at all because it is just for users. The ideal website will have a sitemap for users and a sitemap for search engines. Now, the last point I wish to mention, well, actually, really quickly, this is currently on WordPress, and you can actually also find WordPress plugins for XML sitemaps. If you are not running a WordPress website, then use the xml-sitemaps.com. But the last point I wish to mention is about your 404 page. Now, a 404 page is what shows when we visit a website and the URL that we're visiting doesn't exist. So as we can see here, we've got the 404 error message. At the moment, it's great that you've got a 404 page that matches your design, because a lot don't. And it's great that you've got a 404 message that is clear and tells us that we've obviously hit an error. But this can be improved upon. At the moment, you're not telling us why we might have hit this error, and you're not telling us that it might have been your fault or it might have been a mistake and that we should contact you. Because if you have a lot of pages and you accidentally delete one or modify the URL, and I'm hitting these pages that should be up, you need me to contact you because you have so many pages, it's very hard to moderate yourself. So put the moderation in the hands of your users. If you imagine a scenario where you create a page, it's ranking very well on Google, you delete the page, and all of a sudden you're getting a lot of people hitting this page and not finding it. Now, if you imagine, if they don't contact you, that page is lost. However, if they contact you, you can reinstate the page and keep the high ranking page because you know it is popular and you know a lot of people are hitting it. So it's important that you have a message here to basically tell users to contact you. This could be a direct link to your contact page, or in fact this could actually be basically an actual form on the page itself. Really quick point to mention about your contact page is, as we can see here, you have CAPTCHA. CAPTCHA is perfect for stopping spam. This is a randomly generated image that changes every time I refresh the page, and it's alpha and numeric characters. Now, because bots can't read images, in theory they can't enter this code and spam will be stopped. Secondly, another good thing you're doing on this form is you've added the text box design. Now, as I've mentioned, it's important to customize anything you can to your website, such as text box designs, link styling, 404 pages, etc. Now, there is a slight issue, and I'm sure you can see it. You have this text box styled, this text box styled, and this text area styled, even the contact button. However, the select drop-down box isn't being styled. So what you need to do is give this drop-down box the exact same class that you have given in the CSS file, which is the Cascade Bin Style Sheets file, which designs websites. You need to give this the same class, or set a class directly for all select boxes on your websites to match. Because at the moment, as I've mentioned with design consistency, this looks poor. Grey, 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 default. It looks poor, it looks out of place, and it would look far better if actually styled like the rest of your form. Okay, that is 11 points. 11 points mentioned in total about this website. I hope you found them helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.